Hello, dear viewers. It is time, believe it or not, once again for the great Ace Attorney Escapades. The Lanced Magazine presents Episode 6 in Mr. Natsume's Room. In this escapade in Mr. Natsume's room, it's revealed that the Japanese scholar was once a teacher of English. He has much to say on the cultural differences between Japan and Britain, as well as on sentimentality, Shakespeare, and cycling.
Mr. Natsume on a bike, I can't believe it. He'd probably crash headfirst while doing a dab. Incorporate it into his latest book. Let's go. Includes spoilers about the first game's story, so if anybody out there hasn't seen my full playthrough of the first Great Ace Attorney, what are you doing? 23rd February, 6:09 p.m. Nice. Mr. Natsume's room.
So, Mr. Natsume, are you really returning home? To Japan?
Yes, indeed I am. Everything is arranged already.
Doesn't seem very arranged. Are you going to bring all of this stuff, Mr. Natsume? Or are you just gonna leave it to us? You better get started packing.
We'll be sad to see you go. And after Rino worked so hard to prove your innocence as well. What a shame. It feels like it was all a wasted effort.
Don't say that! I know what you're suggesting.
Now, calm down, Mr. Natsume. It's all fine. Really.
You are in good company here, sir. If you fear the Reaper, you needn't hide that fact. If you are a seasoned, then of course you fear the Reaper. Don't you know the song?
Song?
Sorry, it won't be invented for a couple of 100 years.
Sholmes, you were just sitting in the books?
I am a proud citizen of the Empire of Japan! I am not a scaredy cat!
Talking of cats, Mr. Sholmes just casually threw one among the pigeons there.
A man like me belongs in Japan, not here. That's what I've come to realize. I wonder. A moustache such as yours is eminently suited to London, I would say.
What? They don't have mustaches down in Japan? Just look at frickin' Armstrong from Fullmetal Alchemist. I don't think he was Japanese in the lore, though. There goes Mr. Sholmes throwing another cat in.
The moment I arrived in this city, I noticed. Everyone in London laughs at me behind my back, like hyenas. Hysterical hyenas howling horribly.
I'm sure that's not true, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, but it is. Whenever I turn around and peer down the fog-filled streets, all I see is foreigners everywhere.
Well, there's you, Rino, and Susie in here. So that's 3 foreigners out of 5 people. I take your point.
I believe he means foreigners to him.
Only the other day I was taking a stroll through the fog as usual when a young man approached me from ahead. He was pale and gaunt, his back arched like a cat. Observing his wretchedness moved me so deeply. I thought to myself, I'm not the only one suffering in this hell. But do you know what? Can you imagine? It was just my own reflection in a shop window.
Oh, Soseki, please. You know what? I don't blame him for not seeing his reflection for a while, because if you notice, there's no windows or mirrors in here. He probably doesn't see it on a daily basis. Oh, poor Natsume.
A stunning, stinging, stupefying surprise!
Don't forget slap in the face. No, Ryu.
Everyone started laughing at me. Gentlemen thereabouts, ladies passing by, even the man in the shop window. Ah, yes. And a certain great detective would like to be included among the mirthful.
Is that the point? Don't bust a vein, Mr. Natsume. You need to keep history intact. Mr. Sholmes is really going for Soseki-san today.
Well, I for one think you're a very handsome man, Mr. Natsume.
Is it time for a makeover? Come on, let's go. There, did you hear that? This 10-year-old girl thinks you're handsome. Isn't that wonderful?
That makes me feel suspiciously warm inside.
Suspiciously is right. Like, did you have to specify? Just somebody thinking he's wonderful is all he needs. He looks genuinely delighted.
The point is, we Japanese are humble and modest. Studying on foreign soil surrounded by foreign people, how could anyone possibly enjoy that?
TV shows always talk about foreign exchange programs, but I've never seen one in real life. Probably because my high school is very poor. But, you know, that's besides the point. I've never seen anybody or known anybody who was a foreign exchange student. Hey, if you're watching right now, post in the comments. And post where you went to. Could get some interesting stories.
No one could! It's impossible! If you're a genuine Japanese.
Hey, Soseki, no need to start gatekeeping, dude. Gatekeep girl boss, Natsume. Yep, that's alliterative.
If you say so.
Actually, it would appear that there is someone. A Japanese man who studied in a foreign country and seems to have thrived on the experience.
Keep in mind that the events of this game don't take into account anything that happens in Game 2.
There is?
I thought you found it. How'd you flip through so many pages?
Mr. Ogai Mori. I believe he studied in Germany.
Mr. Mori?
His name is Mr. Forrest?
Pray, tell us more of this fellow.
Well, today, he's a very successful author in Japan.
Is that real? I bet it is. You gotta think like the people of the past that inspire you today must have had their own inspirations themselves. You know, Mr. Famous Soseki Natsume, Mr. Wagahai wa Neko de Aru. Yeah, this may be accurate. This may be like he may have been falling on some hard times living in a foreign country just far away from anyone he knew. I like the fact that Ace Attorney took a stab at representing the struggles he may have faced, even if it's not maybe accurate.
Oh, I've heard of him. He's the professor who wrote My Hime, isn't he?
My Hime?
I suppose in English, the title would be Dancing Queen, young and sweet, only 17. Dancing Princess Naruto. Maybe?
Oh, I see. A tale of a woman who waltzed her way through the world, perhaps.
You really needn't make up a silly translation, you know. It's already officially called The Dancing Girl in English.
Wait, you just totally lost the princess part.
It seems Mr. Mori greatly enjoyed his time in Germany. He became close with a local lady while he was there.
Oh, there's hope for you yet, Mr. Natsume.
Close, you say? With a local lady? A compatriot's criminally contradictory conduct!
Maybe fit some consort in there, too. Well, I suppose your experience of studying abroad depends to a large extent on your character.
Yes, and from the sounds of this Mori, my fellow, he definitely studied abroad. Oh, as they say, many men, many minds. Mr. Mori has an open mind, Mr. Natsume, a closed one.
And then there's me with no mind.
Possibly a slightly black and white view, don't you think, Mr. Sholmes?
Well, anyway, if that's how you feel about being abroad, why did you choose to study here?
Wasn't it to further our nation's understanding of the English language or something? I know I could use some understanding of the English language.
Yes, that's right.
So what were you doing in Japan before you came to Great Britain then?
I was a school teacher, of English, of course.
No wonder he's so good at it.
A bit cursory, perhaps, but I've managed to discover some information about Mr. Natsume's teaching days.
That's all in that book? Man, Susato's got the entirety of Wikipedia just printed out in there. They say you could fit the entire internet on a strawberry, whatever that means.
That's just a little outside the field of law, isn't it, Mr. Zato? Well, let me pose you a question, Mr. Naruhodo. If you had to translate the English phrase, I love you, into Japanese, what would it become?
That's easy. Aishiteru or Tsuki desu.
Wrong! According to Mr. Natsume's teaching, at least.
I played Persona 4. I know what this is all about. I've read about this so many times, I could have sworn I already heard it in this game.
What? Would you like to explain, Mr. Natsume?
I guess Ryunosuke is not winning the quiz. He's not getting those charisma points in P4.
Yes, of course. Your research was very thorough. I always used to tell my students that we Japanese don't express ourselves that way. Rather, we might say, Tsuki ga kirei desu ne.
The moon is quite beautiful tonight, isn't it?
My dear Mr. Natsume, I must interject.
What, like you understand Japanese, Mr. Sholmes?
Tsuki ga kirei desu ne would translate as, the moon is beautiful, isn't it?
Wow! Man, I kind of do wish I played this before I played Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2.
I know that.
The point is that we Japanese are reticent when it comes to expressing our emotions. We prefer to show our feelings of adoration, our Tsuki, by appreciating the beauty of the moon, the Tsuki.
Well, I never knew that was also a wordplay. Holy crap, Natsume was actually a genius. Man, Persona didn't capture that at all.
Using Tatsuki to express Suki. It is an amusing play on words, I see. No! Or in language you might understand better. Bad Sholmes!
Bad. Pop him in the head with a newspaper.
It's not a play on words. It's subtle, it's humble, it's fleeting and beautiful. It's art!
Isn't it just being shy?
My dear fellow, the foreign dancing girl will forever be out of your reach with such an attitude. Imagine how the great Mr. Mori would act. He would win the lady's heart in a flash, with a well-placed and unrestrained, I love you. Oh, that smooth Mr. Mori. Am I destined to live in his shadow forever?
Just what sort of man is he in that imagination of yours?
The fact is, I just can't settle in this foggy London town with all its foreign inhabitants. I've lost count of the number of different lodgings I tried before I found myself here.
Yeah, the one with the no windows because of the freaking window laws. Taxes.
As it happens, I even lived on Baker Street at one time.
You'd think it'd be expensive to live there. I guess maybe now.
No, really?
Don't tell me it's the same place that Sholmes is cooped up in right now.
A Sao scholar lives there, a man by the name of William James Craig. His knowledge of Sao is unsurpassed. He's been a great inspiration to me over the...
What is Sao? Not Sao like a pig.
Forgive the interruption, but am I supposed to be familiar with this Sao of which you speak?
You can tell he's serious because he's got that no thoughts, head empty look on his face.
It's Shakespeare, of course, Shakespeare. But in Japanese, we write it as Sao.
Why?
It's a phonetic representation using kanji characters. So England is Igirisu, and America is America.
Come to think of it, we use the same character as ri in one word, and risu in another. Talk about confusing. Oh, isn't that the character for, like, daytime? I think the actual name of Japan has that character in it.
So Shakespeare is Sao in Japanese. Presumably the Sa is a brutal attempt at the first She, in which case, where's the Caspere?
Caspere! Sounds like a Dragon Quest spell. Ka-frizzle! Ka-spear! Just impales you on the spear. That's not a magic spell.
I never thought of it as that. We only have the O left.
Which could, even in the most charitable interpretation, only be a brutal attempt at old man.
Okay, now you're just stretching it, man.
It seems to me that whoever had the job of deciding on the characters for his name got bored very early on.
It's interesting to me that they would even attempt to represent his name in kanji, but I guess this was before everything got all standardized. Huh.
Complete kanji character catastrophe!
You're telling me. A lot of times with brand new Japanese phrases, they do kind of just make up kanji. I can think of a specific example. Forgive me for using a JoJo example. But the word for stand, even though it's the English word stand, is written in kanji. And for some reason, it uses characters for like hamon, just to tie in with part 1 and 2 for no reason. And then they just stop writing it that way, because Araki forgets.
So then, on to the burning question. What about me? How do you write my name?
Yes, sorry? Very carefully, not to offend you. That's how you write it.
Herlock Sholmes, my dear fellow. There must be Japanese characters for my name.
Oh dear. I'm sorry, Mr. Sholmes, but none exist that I'm aware of.
That's why we gotta coin it. We gotta make up our own pronunciation right here, right now. It's our chance. Well, we know the man.
What? Am I really nothing to you Japanese? In that case, it is a matter of paramount importance. You must construct my name in kanji at once.
We could use a kanji that's pronounced so to start with, and then use one more to give so-o? Perhaps? I think that would be about right, Mr. Sholmes. So-ohms.
But that's almost the same as Sao, isn't it?
Yes, you employed the dreaded O.
And you know what he thinks about the O.
I don't want people to confuse me with an old man who died centuries ago. I want people to think I'm sexy, like Benedict Cumberbatch or something.
Who?
No, never mind.
Is this my headcanon for Sholmes now? He just makes references to the future? I think I did that when I was playing Great Ace Attorney 2. I forgot already. I'm sure the world's greatest literary figure would rather not be confused with you either.
Well, the world's greatest detective is still youthful and full of vigor. So how about so handsome?
I don't think that's kanji.
Oh yes, that sounds wonderful. I'm sure everyone will be calling you that in 100 years from now.
How can she say that with a straight face?
What about me then? Iris? Perhaps Aihime, since the second character doesn't seem to matter?
I see, she's catching on.
Aihime? Oh yes, Princess of Love. That's an adorable name for you, Iris.
Stop! Please! With a name like that, Mr. Mori is likely to turn up at any moment and rashly declare, I love you!
Now hold on, she's 10? This Mori-san has become quite a character in Soseki-san's mind. Much like Soseki-san has become a character in the Ace Attorney writer's mind.
And you, Mr. Naruhodo, might I venture Kurobosu as a fitting name for you? As in, the Dark Monk.
His name's already Japanese, Sholmes. You don't need to retranslate it.
Oh, that's very good. It describes you perfectly, Reno.
So you think I'll be wearing this black varsity uniform for the rest of my days, do you? Nah. We gotta find all those fan artists on Twitter that, like, draw all the Ace Attorney characters in casual wear. It's such a funny idea that, like, you realize you never see characters like Edgeworth in casual wear, just like in a shirt and jeans. Like, apparently the only official art in him with him wearing anything else is like pajamas. That's it. In all other cases, it's full-on suit with a jabot. Nothing in between. I'd like to think his casual wear has a jabot or cravat, however you want to say it.
But Mr. Naruhodo already has a Japanese name. I don't believe he needs another.
Well, in case he gets declared guilty of something, he might need a pseudonym to go out into public. How about that?
Well, anyway, we were talking about your life here in London, weren't we, Mr. Natsume? You should just get out and have fun.
This must be where the cycling happens.
Oh, the landlady has said as much to me, too.
Mrs. Garadeb? Oh man, I forgot all about her.
But it wasn't fun at all. It was frightful.
Frightfully fearing such foggy fare.
Whatever do you mean?
A cycle incident.
An incident? On a bicycle? Oh, yes, come to think of it. Oh, you know what? We never did get an explanation for that. There's an old bicycle park just outside, isn't there? It's in a sorry state, though.
I tried to say no to her, but she insisted I took it for a ride. Perhaps my pronunciation was wrong. So I took my life in my hands and attempted to ride the steel spider-webbed stallion to a nearby park.
I really don't think there's anything wrong with your pronunciation, Mr. Natsume.
Joan Garadeb just isn't the kind of woman to take no for an answer. And that's how she got her husband.
If you're going to die, you might as well die in beautiful surroundings. So the park was my first thought.
So, Saki, that's so dark.
After a whole day of dicing with death, I emerged with only relatively minor bruises.
So you got the knack of it?
Don't be silly! Dying isn't something you can learn to do.
I don't know.
Mr. Natsume, you keep talking about dicing with death and dying and so forth. But riding a bicycle is supposed to be fun.
Oh no, that's just what people tell you. But it's an old wives' tale.
Is it?
I mean, just consider the real name of the vehicle. It's not called a dicycle for nothing. How anyone expects to use such an aptly named vehicle to move forward is beyond me. Pedal power promises pain.
I didn't think it was possible to get worse with practice.
Dicycle, bicycle. Oh, you see, the first syllable is actually the Japanese character dai. It's a big cycle. Yes. That, you know, it's what you call the ones that used to have the big wheel in the front, but you know, they kept the name after they made it small.
I'm lucky to be alive! Although I must say, after looking death in the eye for a whole week, I did at least manage to mount the steed reliably. And notwithstanding a few wobbles, I found I could make progress in the forward direction.
Ah, what a triumph.
Deduction is much the same. When first presented with a problem, the mental exertion of trying to solve it leads only to bitter disappointment. But after a week of picking one's way carefully along the path of reasoning and thought, one begins to see results.
By that you mean after Ryunosuke picks the path along for you. So is that why all of your off-the-cuff deductions always seem half-baked?
What a wonderful insight into your extraordinary mind, Mr. Sholmes.
Don't inflate his ego. It's gonna burst any second now.
Unfortunately, after wobbling down the street, I noticed there were little stones everywhere. Death traps! Not that way, I said to myself. But the wild vehicle wouldn't listen. It wobbled me on and on down the street. So, of course, I hit one of those deadly stones, and the crazy colt threw me. It's just my luck. Bicycles are the epitome of my painful life.
I wish I could disagree.
On the same subject, I'm sure there's a famous American author who's written about having a similar experience.
Oh yes, I've read that essay too, Iris.
Some of us are better read than others.
Well, no more bicycles for me. Die.
Oh, Mr. Natsume, at least you have an interesting anecdote to take with you back to Japan, if nothing else.
You always manage to put a positive spin on things, don't you, Miss Susato? And that's why we love her. And that's why the moon is beautiful tonight.
Personally, I haven't mounted a bicycle for some time.
No, me neither.
Did you even ever learn how to ride a bicycle, Iris?
That's good. So, how about a jaunt? We shall all ride out together.
Sholmes, I'm not buying you a bicycle. You're gonna have to provide your own, if that's what you're asking me to do.
Ah!
That sounds great. I'll perch behind Miss Susato.
But, the sun is going down. It'll be pitch black before long.
Oh, is that your metaphor for I'm scared?
London street lamps are very bright, you know, and the fog isn't too thick today.
And my beloved ride is all bent out of shape. My dear fellow, if you are bound to topple the vehicle anyway, it's fitting that it is already bent out of shape.
That's not gonna... Don't take mechanical advice from Mr. Sholmes.
It's settled in. Come along, Mr. Natsume. Shall we go?
They didn't take his subtext.
Tsuki ga kirei desu ne.
Don't tell me that's his translation of no thank you as well. It's a very versatile phrase.
Indeed, Mr. Natsume, the moon is at its most beautiful at precisely this time in the evening.
Oh.
We're not Japanese. You can't beat around the bush with us.
What a weird and wonderful world!
Just when I thought I'd keep seeing the last of Mr. Natsume, he just grows on you know? It is a little sad to me that I never got the chance to play the first game in the official translation. At least, I mean, I could, but it seems too late now. It's like the way that they wrote him in this localization, it's subtly different, but that's how localization works. It's taking something that just wouldn't pass off otherwise, and oh, now you get an idea of how silly he's supposed to be, or how serious he's supposed to be, somewhere in the middle. Is it accurate? I don't know. I'd have to learn Japanese myself. I'd have to learn how the moon is beautiful tonight. But, that's a project for another time. For now, though, we'll say goodbye to the Escapades for who knows how many more months again. But hey, I'm keeping my promise, and we're working through them. It'll be sad to see the last two go, but then I'll have a clear conscience for when I play the next few Ace Attorney games I haven't streamed yet. So, signing off, Mr. Chicken, that's me. I'll see you another time, everybody. Bye-bye!